Good morning. My name is Trey Williams, and I am going to the first grade. Welcome to day 12. Welcome to day 12 of our virtual reading fair. We have been reading and learning during our 22 reading sessions. I always forget what the words are.
Sessions.
Oh, thank you. Hello. Now, Harris, you're jumping on down. Hello. Okay. Good morning, Harris.
He's coming.
Good morning.
Yeah, Trey was looking for you when he first came on. He said, "Where's Harris?"
Or that one.
Okay, so I'm Meredith McGee, and I'm the chair of the Community Library of Mississippi. Harris.
My name's Harry Chia, and I am 6 years old, and I'm going to the first grade.
I'm Lynette Stanford, Greenville.
I am Dr. Janice Neal
My name
Vincent.
is Trey.
Okay, go ahead, Jen.
I am Dr. Janice Neal Vincent, retired university professor, author, and performance artist.
My name is Trey, and I'm going to the first grade in kindergarten. And
Okay, look.
Okay. Are you reading first, Trey?
and I'm in the Williams section. And I am Gigi's son for reuniting
Okay.
myself.
Well, you can read first, then we'll let our Harry read.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Every little thing is gonna be. So do I just read every little thing?
Read this.
Based on the song Three Little Birds by Bob
Marley.
Marley. Every little thing's gonna be all right. Adapted by Azella Marley and illustrated by
Vanessa
Brantley Network
Newton.
Newton.
Well, the same lady illustrated this book that illustrated King of Kindergarten. I just saw that.
Because she makes the same books over this.
I'm gonna have to get that book. I love Bob Marley.
All right, you gotta read this again. Let me read this again. Read this one again. Every little thing's gonna be all right. Based on the song Three Little Birds by Bob Marley and adapted by Sadella Marley and illustrated by Vanessa Brantley Newton.
Good job. Okay.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies, pure and true, saying this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be all right. Run to the playground, laugh with my friends, and play three little birds perch on the swing set, swinging, whistling these words, these harmonies, sweet and the air, something you sometimes you just need to show you care. And you say, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be all right. Right. And this is part 1. Now it's Cinder's turn.
Okay, so you're finished. That was part 1. Say it again.
Right, this was part 1.
I'll finish up this afternoon.
I'll finish up this afternoon for a part 2.
Can you give us a summary of what you read, Trey? In part 1?
Yes. It has to be somewhere far. It's somewhere far. And I need to read for my part 2 or 3.
No, she's asking you what happened in part 1.
No, what? Yeah,
So, some birds chirping at the rise up a little boy and a cat. I was trying to look out for a bird. And then they went outside and it was a little wet.
Get ready to go where? Where you get ready to go?
The
school?
Yes.
That's it, maybe. Okay.
The school
Okay.
playground.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then they splashed in puddles, and the cat hate water because I already know cats hate water.
Speak up.
And
Yeah.
And then at the playground, he was playing with his friends, but there was one little boy who was swinging on his own. He wanted somebody to play with him too. And then that boy that we were talking about and when we began it said to the little boy, every little thing's gonna be all right.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Trey. And Harry, are you ready
You
to
want
read? Make sure you hold the book up. Cover.
David and the very scary Goliath. Did you know David lived long ago when wars were fought with swords and shields? Did you know the army of the Philippines was a giant named Goliath who caused a lot of trouble? Did you know David's brothers joined the Elijah's army to protect their community from the Philippines? Did you know David was too young to be a soldier, so he took care of his father's sheep? Did you know David's good friends were the lambs he cried for each day and protected from wild animals at night? Did you know in the fields with the sheep, David played the harp and sang songs, pairing it. Did you know David loved and trusted God with all his heart? Did you know one day David's father sent him to the Egypt, no, campsite with food for his brothers? Did you know across the valley David saw Goliath yelling and bastering? That's all you were afraid of them. David, do you know David was not afraid of Goliath because David trusted in God. David put 5 small smooth stones in his bag and stepped forward to face Goliath. Did you know David has his slingshot? David used a stone, hit Goliath in the forehead, and killed him. The end.
Okay, very good. Now, can you tell us 2 or 3 things about the character David that you was reading about? Very famous character.
He defeated Goliath. He took care of his father's sheep. And he brought his brothers food.
Very good, very good. Any other questions or comments about?
Good, good.
Okay, okay.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, Grandma, you read next?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that I appreciate Harry bringing those biblical stories in because we like to read them too.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
My book, and look at it. And another point is that you don't always have to be what people think is you're the biggest and the strongest in order to be the most effective.
That's right.
All right. I'm going to read Where Butterflies Grow by Joanne Ryder, pictures by Lynn Cherry. Because I'm interested in the butterfly garden. I bought some seeds, so I'm put some out, and we always try to put the little fly. We like to look at the butterflies. So I'm going to read a little bit more about butterflies and see what type of flowers particular butterflies like and see what I can do to help them come along. So I bought a pack of seeds for a butterfly garden.
Oh, really?
So I'm just gonna read the intro. I'm gonna read the intro. Growing butterflies in your garden. So Meredith, we're gonna have to put our heads together. Long as I can remember, part of my father's vegetable garden was a garden for butterflies. My father planted parsley more than our family could ever eat, so that black swallowtail butterflies would come and lay their golden eggs on the ruffled leaves. When the eggs hatched, we watched the caterpillars grow day by day until they changed into swallowtail butterflies, large, dark flyers with graceful wings shaped like the long tail of a swallow. You can grow butterflies too by choosing certain plants for your garden. Each kind of caterpillar prefers different plants. Black swallowtail caterpillars will eat parsley or carrot leaves, or the leaves and flowers of the common wildflower Queen Anne's lace, as in this book. By growing such plants, you may attract female butterflies to lay their eggs. The tiny black caterpillars will hatch the tiny black caterpillars that hatch will grow and shed their skin several times, eventually becoming smooth green caterpillars with black stripes and yellow spots. You may see a young swallowtail caterpillar stick out orange horns when disturbed. The horns are tiny pockets that can be pushed out to release a strong smelling substance that is unappealing to birds and other predators. To watch a caterpillar grow and change, you can move it carefully to a terrarium with some of its food plant and a stick firmly attached inside. Cover the terrarium securely with a piece of screen or cloth that allows air to enter. When it is about 2 inches long, the caterpillar prepares to become a pupa. It stops feeding and it voids undigested food from its body. It begins to search for a place to pupate. Outdoors, the caterpillar will travel far from its food source to some strong, secure place. In the terrarium, it will climb up on the stick or the wall. It attaches itself by spinning a silk pad on a surface and hooking the tip of its body into the pad. It makes a silken sling, then curls up within the sling and rests. In a few hours, its skin splits at the head. Underneath, a pale greenish purple appears. As the purple wiggles, the old striped skin continues to split and begins to fall away until finally it drops to the ground. As the purple rests, its surface hardens and changes to a deep green or brown color. Although it looks sturdy, the purple is rather fragile. Inside, it has already begun to change into a butterfly. Several days before the butterfly is ready to emerge, the purple darkens until it appears black. You will see the butterfly's black wings and pale yellow markings underneath. Before the butterfly emerges, it swallows air, puffing up and splitting the purple shell. It bursts out wet and crumpled. It swallows more air to pump blood into its wings so they expand, hardening as they dry. At last, the butterfly is ready to be released and take its first flight. Eggs that are laid early in the summer can develop into butterflies before summer ends. In colder climates, caterpillars born at the end of summer pupate in the fall and do not appear as butterflies until spring. You may keep a pupa indoors through the winter. As winter ends, watch and wait until you see the black wings tucked inside the darkening purple. Soon the swallowtail butterfly will be ready to fly until the warm green days of spring. So I'll just read a couple of pages as we go along, and we'll learn together about attracting butterflies to our gardens.
Well, what are some of the benefits of a butterfly? And I was wondering, how long does it take a butterfly to mature?
These things I do not know, but we may get some. We'll get some learning, and we'll learn some things from reading this book. I've had this book. I got this book for Trey. It came from the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and so I was looking around today, and I said, well, I can read the butterfly book because I am interested in butterflies. So these are some things that we can research and learn together.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so you want to go now or last, Jen? It doesn't matter. It's the two of us left.
Okay, I can go now.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm going to continue here with the post-traumatic slavery mentality by Dr. Leary.
Oh, hold it up one more time. Hold it up. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Okay.
Here she is addressing superiority versus inferiority. In America, well, let me go up. Africans were among the many civilizations around the world that did not live up to European standards, and so were considered inferior. They were inferior, first because they were not European, and second because they were not Christian. Thus, Africans were viewed as impure, irreligious, and uncivilized, fit to be slaves. In America, these efforts to prove whites superior to blacks continued in the grand European tradition. Thomas Jefferson, considered one of the most learned men of his era, expressed disdain and contempt for blacks, stating that they smelled bad and were physically unattractive, required less sleep, were dumb, cowardly, and incapable of feeling grief. In his attempt to justify slavery, he went on to write, "It is not against experience to suppose that different species of the same genes or varieties of the same species may possess different qualifications. Will not a lover of natural history then, one who views the graduations in all the races of animals with the eye of philosophy, excuse an effort to keep those in the department of man as distinct as nature has formed them? This unfortunate difference of color and perhaps of faculty is a powerful obstacle to the emancipation of these people." Finally concluding, "Advance it therefore as a suspicion only that blacks, whether originally a distinct race or made distinct by time and circumstances, are inferior to the whites in the endowments of body and mind." Contrary to his doubts, Jefferson's feelings on this matter were so strong that he suggested that blacks be removed from any possible contact with whites, lest the race be tainted. Among the Romans, emancipation required but one effort. The slave, when made free, might mix with, without staining the blood of the master. But with us a second is necessary, unknown to history. When freed, he is to be removed beyond the reach of mixture. Other founding fathers expressed similar views as to the status of blacks. James Madison, framer of our Constitution, viewed slaves as inhabitants, but as debased by servitude below the equal level of free inhabitants, which regards the slave as divested of 2/5 of the man. Further efforts to dehumanize those brought here from Africa were written into law. The Virginia Code of 1705 removed criminal consequences for killing a slave in the act of correcting them. And if any slave resists his master or owner or other person by his or her order, correcting such slave, and shall happen to be killed in such correction, it shall not be accounted a felony. But the master, owner, and every such other person so giving correction shall be free and acquit of all punishment and accusation for the same, as if such accident had never happened. So I will stop there in terms of this particular narrative by Dr. Leary.
Well, I thought that that was extremely interesting that they said that Africans, when we first came here, were inferior because we had no religion. And what's the other thing that she said?
Well, they were talking about how we smelled and how we were totally different from them in terms of species, and that we actually had no place other than to be their property.
Well, that was we published Social Justice Christianity. Now, in his research, what he said in his book, Social social justice Christiana, the late Reverend Louis Blake Hawthorne of Lexington, Mississippi, he said that most of the Africans, a great percent of them who came to America had religion, but they were Muslims. And a Muslim is not what the early colonists considered a heathen who had no religion. They did have a religion. And so I thought that whole thing was just propaganda, because not only did they have religion, some of them were educated, had universities in Moorish Spain, because the Moors from North Africa had taken over Spain for almost 800 years. And they had universities when Europe was in the dark. So it's interesting that, and then the other thing that was really interesting to me was what you said that Thomas Jefferson said. Thomas Jefferson, I just Googled, I knew that he helped start the Library of Congress, our nation's largest library. But I didn't know this. In Congress purchased Jefferson's library. He was supposed to have the largest collection of books in America at that time, the early 1800s. They purchased his library in 1815 for $23,950. Now, I don't know what that would convert to in today's money, but that just shows you the value of books, which is knowledge, and man's ideals are in books, and why it is so important for young people to be reading and learning all of these ideas. And I thought that was just amazing to see how the propaganda played out in terms of making us inferior and falsely characterizing us.
Yes, you said so much, and you have summed it up in a nutshell, because the whole thing was the God, the Christian God, the God they served was the God for them, not the God for us. And so, yes, they discovered that we had our own gods. We had our own gods. And their determination was, which they did do, to strip us of everything. And as we continue these readings, we're finding out here that what they did in America, the founding fathers here that I'm talking about, what they did in America against us was the most brutal treatment. Comparison to the rest of the world for slaves. And then we have often been talking about our own people made us slaves. But when we look at the tribes that we had, the different warriors, and how they would enslave each other, it was a totally different type of mechanism. It was all about the indentured servant. So once I, from my tribe enslaved you, you became the indentured servant, not the brutal treatment of a slave that we received here in America. So that was nothing but the whites' way of saying it's justifiable to have a slave because they enslaved each other. But they did not tell the whole story about enslavement. They left that out about the wars, the tribes. We come from so many tribes, and the tribes were warring, and some may be still warring to this day. But that delicacy of our legacy was totally distorted. And so the justification here about, it's not even saying in this chapter 3/5, 2/5 of a man. They always found a way to make it look like their wrongness was all right. So I'm your master. You do what I say. Nobody's going to bother me. I do anything I want to you because you are not human. You are property. And these are the framers of the Constitution who did this, which is why where we are now with the White House situation, with the Black Lives Matter situation, these things continue to be addressed. And I'm so happy to see the sameness in terms of the statues coming away. They never should have been put up in the first place, in my opinion, because they didn't stand for anything but degradation and the ruins of a people who already had their comforts, their joys at home. We were dragged over here against our will.
Yes, now I want to ask you, Harry, do you understand now what you read in this discussion? Do you understand what Dr. Vincent read in this discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you understand about it.
That we are being treated like slaves.
Okay. Yeah, I was just checking in with you. See, still.
Meredith.
Yes.
Okay, how much was the library purchased for?
It said
Jefferson's Library.
$23,950 in 1815. Congress
Wait a minute.
voted.
2,300. Wait a minute. 2,300, 900.
And $50.
23,000.
Let me
Okay.
read it to you.
In what year?
By 1814, when the British burned the nation's capital and the Library of Congress, Jefferson had acquired the largest personal collection of books in the United States. Jefferson offered to sell his library to Congress as a replacement for the collection destroyed by the British during the War of 1812. And Congress purchased Jefferson's library for $23,950 in 1815, and the British had destroyed it. And that was the last time that America and the British ever had a war. So they've been allies since then. But anyway, I thought what Janet just read was my first time hearing some of the views of Jefferson.
Okay.
And it show us a lot to learn. Huh? What'd you say?
$23,950 in 1850 is worth
No,
400,900. Oh, 1815.
1815.
Right. $23,950 in 1815 is worth $400,924.56 today.
Okay, let me say that again. I'm gonna type it in there. $23,950. Hold on. I'm gonna type it in the chat. In 18,
Can you see it?
Is worth how much? Y'all right, it's worth
400,000.
924.56 cents. Today in 2020. Well, I tell you what, I don't know. I think we gotta call these classes. It's a lot of learning going on up in here.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yes.
right, because when I was doing, I'm working on midwifery. I might share it later because I won't be able to be with you tomorrow, but I've got to be at the Smith Robertson Museum performing it, about Biddy Mason, who was a slave, had multiple slave masters, but when she died, she left her 3 children $300,000, according to my research. And that is equivalent to $7 million today. So she was a millionaire. And that's sounding about right what you're saying, 23,000 to 400,000 is something today.
Vicky, we on. Are you jumping on? I'm right in the middle. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna read my paragraph in the hell. You gonna close us out today? All right. We've enjoyed your leadership. You and Trey, you've been opening sometimes when you're not here, and you've been a closer for us. But I'm gonna read this. Oh, and I had to say this. I wanted to say that we really mourn the loss of the late James Charles Evans, and we lost 3 iconic people from the civil rights movement in 1 week. Vivian,
Yeah.
Whose body was laying in state in Georgia. John Lewis on the same day, who was a part of the Selma party and has been with us ever since. And then James Charles Evans yesterday at age 97, and the New York Times did an article on him yesterday. It was so, I learned so much about. He used to be a DJ and used to sell sandwiches, and I read another. So anyway, if you get a chance, read those articles that they put out on him yesterday. It really tells us something about our Mississippi native son. But anyway, I'm going to
National treasures.
National treasure. Yes, absolutely.
We had these national treasures.
And then he got involved in NAACP and voter registration. I read in 1954, which I never knew that he was involved. I always kind of remember that he got involved after his brother died in '63. But he was,
Yeah,
I knew that they had tried to register to vote when they were young, but I didn't know that he was involved. But anyway, and I think that's the year that that Medgar Evers actually tried to integrate the University of Mississippi School of Law, but he didn't go on campus. But anyway, so I'm picking up where I left off. I've been reading a few paragraphs a day. Now Harry and Trey, are y'all listening? Because I want y'all to be able to tell me something about this Governor Longino. Rashida visits the Mississippi State Capitol. What's her name?
Nashida.
Trey?
There you go here.
Mashida.
Nashida.
Okay. All right, so yesterday we left off and we were talking about Governor Longino signing into law 2 bills. One was to move the state penitentiary from its present site on State Street, and they bought the Parchman Plantation and moved it there. And then he signed a bill requiring that judges get elected to office rather than being appointed. So I'm right here. In 1903, Mississippi started the primary system to nominate candidates for public office. Governor Longino, what's his name, Trey?
Yeah.
No, she's asking the name of the governor.
Governor Longino, say that.
Governor
Longino was the last governor to be nominated at the state party convention. And when I first saw that, I was like, party convention. this some kind of way. Where I did the research, they actually would have this platform, and everybody would nominate one person. During Governor Longino's term in office, Mississippi A&M College was formed in Starkville, which became Mississippi State University, and it was an agricultural college. It is called Mississippi State University today. My cousin Jared plays football for those Bulldogs. What does Bulldogs refer to, boys?
Sure. She said she actually what's a full bulldog referred to. It's a what?
A very fully dog
It's a tell 'em.
and a big dog.
I'm gonna read it to you again.
It's like a
My
He's
cousin,
so
Okay.
the bulldog is so strong he will never let go.
what did he say to them?
Say it again.
It's a bulldogs will stand firm and will never let go.
What you say, Harry? What did Bulldogs?
He said stand. He said stand firm and never let
It
go.
reminds me of
He said they stand
football.
firm and never let go.
Of
Okay,
anything.
Harry said that it reminds him of football, and that's what it is. The Bulldogs refers to the nickname for the football team at Mississippi State University. Hello, Nikki.
Hello there.
Hey,
I have made it.
okay, then you get to hear the last reading because we're just getting ready to we're doing the last reading now.
But that was why I called you because I thought it was over. But okay, I got the
Okay.
last little bit.
All right, so Governor Longino served 4 years as governor, and I'm gonna stop right there. So, can each of you, Trey and Harry, tell me 2 things about Governor Longino?
So Governor Marcio
Longino.
Longino,
Big up, huh?
he was the one who got Bob the money to build the building.
Speak up.
He was the one who built the building with money.
It's okay. Did you hear him?
No, I didn't. Did y'all hear?
Speak up. Speak up. Say it again.
He was the one who would build who got the money to build the building.
He said he got the money to build the building.
That's right. That's right. And now, Harry, you have anything to add to that?
No, ma'am.
You know what building he's talking about?
No, ma'am.
This is it. And it's on,
What's
we
it
live
name?
in Jackson, Mississippi. This is on State Street. It's called the Mississippi
This-
State
this
Capitol,
is-
where our lawmakers convene and write and draft laws for the governor to sign into law. What you reject,
Yeah.
it's called a veto. That's the building he's talking about, that he got the money to build. Okay, so we had another great session, and we'll resume at 2:15. Harry, you want to take us away?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for attending this Zoom. I hope you can come back on 2:30. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll see you guys at 2:15.
Thank you, Harry. You did a
Thank
beautiful
you, Harry,
job.
Trey. Thank you, everybody, for
Trey.
reading.
Good job, Trey.
Not today.
Bye-bye.